Joining us for Insight is Ed Espinoza, the Executive Director for Progress Texas. So help us understand what happened this week between Texas Democrats and the Secretary of State.
Here in Texas.
Yes.
So basically everybody is worried right now of a redo of Iowa. Nobody wants to have that happen on their home turf. So I think what the Secretary of State did was try to manage expectations to say, hey, this is a big state. It's a complicated process. Something might go awry, of which, of course, the Democrats said, you got time to work it out. You better get it right. So I think that they probably will get it worked out, but everybody's on pins and needles right now.
Yeah, is there something that the Texas Democrats can learn from what happened in Iowa?
Yeah, don't implement new technology without testing it.
Right.
I think that's probably the biggest thing here because we have tried and true methods that we've used for years in these processes. Let's stick with them. And if you want to try something out new, fine. Try it in a school board election or a local bond election where you have fewer precincts and fewer counties and less liability in terms of your turnout.
Now, the Texas delegate system seems a little complicated. Democrats have different types of delegates and different ways of awarding them to candidates. So can you kind of explain to our viewers how that works?
Yeah. So it's different in every state. I'm sorry, it's different than, say, a straightforward primary in a single state. And the reason why is because a presidential primary has proportional delegate allocation. So that's a complicated way of saying they try to make sure every congressional district has the same voting strength at the national conventions.
And it's different than just a straight division statewide.
That's right, because you have to, there's formulas. If you don't have 15% in a particular congressional district, you don't get delegates, similar to Iowa, but at a district level. And in fact, I don't think it's congressional districts here in Texas, it's state Senate districts. That's something that's unique from some other states. Like I said, it is a seemingly long and winding road, but it's all in the name of trying to be as fair and representative as possible to the Democratic primary voters.
Some of our viewers might remember the old Texas two-step system that Democrats used to have, where some of the delegates were chosen by vote and some were by caucus. Why did the party decide to go away from that?
Well, I think Iowa's results are a good example of why the party decided to stop doing it. And I'll tell you a story, because in 2008, Hillary Clinton won the primary in Texas, but Obama won the caucus. So who won Texas? I guess the answer is they both won Texas. But back in 2011, I got a call from the then executive director of the Democratic Party here in Texas. I was a staffer at the DNC. I was the Western States Director. He called me up and he says, we have a decision to make. Do you want us to do the caucus again or not? I said, hey, man, it's up to you. But clearly there was some hesitancy to want to go forward with it again. However the process played out, what they ended up doing was not doing the caucus anymore. It's made things a bit easier, especially in a process that's already somewhat convoluted. But now we just have a primary in Texas. Most people get it, and it's a lot better than it used to be.
Just real quickly, last thing I wanted to ask, a lot of our viewers have been kind of commenting on Facebook and such that maybe Iowa shouldn't be the first in the nation. Maybe a state like Texas should be the first in the nation. Is that ever a possibility, you think?
I think it's a possibility that Iowa is not going to be first again. I think what happened on Monday is really showed that their time may be up. Now, again, going back to my days at the DNC, we had a lot of conversations about this. And one of the things we fought to do was move Nevada up into the process, as well as South Carolina, to try and add some diversity to the early calendar. The problem is that we're in the middle of Iowa and New Hampshire right now, this very week, and we're not hearing a thing about Nevada and South Carolina. It's still not enough. We have to change out who the early states are, and the states have to be small enough so that candidates who have big ideas but small bank accounts can still compete, which unfortunately means that Texas is probably not the right state to go first, but maybe a state like Colorado or Virginia or, again, Nevada or South Carolina, something that we were talking about off air a minute ago, I think is to have all four of the early states go at once so that one state doesn't dominate the process. But we've got to reconsider Iowa and New Hampshire.